really think that what it does, the hypersexualization of women, it kind of dehumanizes us to a certain
low
extent,
self-worth.
and it takes away our voice.
Once you take away the fathers, then, you know, the mothers and the sons and the daughters are vulnerable. And once the daughters are vulnerable to just sell themselves like that, you can destroy a whole culture that way.
I just think it's a part of a plan to keep us divided and to keep us separated.
Hi, welcome back to Gotta Be Me podcast. We're so happy to be here again with you today. We are your hosts. My name is Sophia Benyon, and this is my cousin Peyton Benyon.
Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
We are dedicated to discussing. I wanted to say oppression. It was like discussion. Discussing oppression. We talk about what causes it, and we talk about its cure. A topic that has caught our interest in the past week that we have been vehemently discussing off camera is called whole culture.
The whole thing that started it is what even started it?
I can't remember how we came up on that video.
We became so vehement because we were looking up stuff, and then we ran across Sexy Red's video that came out in August.
Did we come across our video first, or we come across the lady that was talking about it,
upset
and then we went to go?
I don't know. Either way, we started getting upset about it.
Well,
because
the first astounding thing was the amount of people that were listening to it, and I felt like when I saw,
how many views did it have? It was insane.
Was it like 5 million? Was that 5 million views?
I don't know. I would have to check.
Or was that the one that had? It was like millions, obviously.
Yeah.
And I felt like, okay, this has a lot of views. We should check this out.
Yeah.
And the fact that had that many views.
What does that mean now?
Traumatizing.
So the lady that was upset about it, she was upset about it because she was like, "This does not represent us," right? And I feel like
why do you feel like okay, the lady was African American. Why do you feel like this lady felt like she needed to come on camera and say, you know, that didn't represent us?
Well, I feel like it's just like a blatant expression of something is an age-old problem.
Okay.
Like, Black women have been hypersexualized.
You're saying as far as Black women, like this is a problem.
As far as Black women, right?
Okay.
Have been hypersexualized by the media.
Right.
And I feel like that's like a well-known fact. And I think it goes back.
Would you say kind of like in the way, I think someone mentioned this as well, kind of in the way men have been made to look extra violent in the media?
Right.
Like Black men are scary, sense, that whole stigma.
And I feel like, okay, I have two thoughts going on in my head right now. I have the thought that the reason that this could happen is because our men have been emasculated. If you think about mass incarceration, oh yes, we watch all those documentaries about mass incarceration as well.
Ava DuVernay. Everybody in the entire world should watch 13th.
For sure.
It's life-changing, isn't it?
Life-changing, yeah. And then Central Park 5 and all that when they see us. But the reason people like Sexy Red or even have a platform is because
well, I think it goes farther back, it goes even farther back than mass incarceration. First, before they were free in slave times, they were selling Black fathers out of the home. They couldn't,
and raping their women.
They were in no position to protect their own.
Yeah, they had no human rights. And when you take that away for generations, you can't tell me the psychological damage does not go on for generations.
Absolutely it does. And so you were saying the fathers.
So the only reason I feel like Sexy Red has a platform is because where are the fathers, right?
Where is the dad that's telling her?
They've been stripped, and I believe the kings of the earth, the system knows that if you take away the fathers, then it will allow Sexy Red to have a platform who should never have a platform.
Her rap is not an art. Like, it's not nice. It's not talented. The words aren't like, oh, that was deep. Yeah,
that was meaningful. Like,
the music is not, to me.
It's literally about whores and more whores and hoes
and all the things that hoes do.
And we have our little girls watching this, and it makes me wonder, like, where are all the dads
this girl last
that should be in an uproar about
that would
this?
go around the classroom singing it. She would sing, not Sexy Red song. WAP. She would sing that, and she would do the dance of that. Like, she was like 8 years old. What is that? How is that okay that little girls know about this
That's literally
stuff?
infuriating
Because
what it does is it allows that girl to imbibe and inhibit that image inside of her mind, and it portrays that upon herself, that is her image.
And to me, that image is the definition of low self-worth.
You know what? I really think that what it does, the hypersexualization of women, it kind of dehumanizes us to a certain
low
extent.
self-worth.
And it takes away our voice, because when people see us, what do they see? what do they think about? They think about Sexy Red, they think about horse, and it takes away the validation of what we have to say. And I think America doesn't want us to speak.
Right.
I think they know
That Black women
that
have something powerful
that we
to
have
say.
something to say. As Dr. Cornel West said, if you fall in love with Black people, America is threatened.
Right.
Right, because we kind of know how dirty it is on the lowest level.
We've seen
so
the
if they
oppression
can take
from
away
the
our
inside.
voice, then that's all they need.
And they've
right?
done what they wanted to do. Yeah, I feel like there's no stopping the snowball, the avalanche of what that system is doing, right? Like, once you take away the fathers, then, you know, the mothers and the sons and the daughters are vulnerable. And once the daughters are vulnerable to just sell themselves like that, you can destroy a whole culture that way.
Right, and their dads aren't there to validate their women. And then where are the girls looking for validation? They're looking up to these people, and then we have our elderly women. We're disrespecting our elders. You know, when all people like Sexy Red need they need a father, yes, but they need a grandmother to come and say, "Sweetie, don't do that. That's
Yes.
not what we do."
At least. And I feel like, but if a father were there, you know, women have had to be strong in the Black community, you know what I'm saying? Because the men have been taken away. It wasn't the fault of the men, but the men were taken away. But yeah, like you said, Sexy Red literally needed a dad to come here and say, honey, don't do that to yourself. This is not okay. Do you know how men think? I know how men think. Don't do this. You're worth more than this. Your value is not.
They need to listen to Warren Hill's song. They need to say, "Stop acting like a hard rock when you really are a gem."
Yeah.
Right?
Sexy Red responded to this one woman that was saying she doesn't represent us.
Yeah.
And her response was so cringe. Like, she's ignorant. She's just this girl, and I'm not hating on her at all.
I feel like she's a victim, honestly.
Absolutely. And she's just this girl that got a bunch of money fast, and now she's in her movie. She was like,
she looks like she has
leave
no
me alone.
guidance.
She was like, leave me alone. I'm in Canada, on the other side of the world, living the rich life. Like,
On the other side of the world.
you're
Like,
in Canada.
Wait,
Canada?
other side of the world.
Like, you think you've traveled now because you're in Canada.
And it's so cringe.
And she's just like, she's
It
just
makes you want to start
uneducated.
turning red. Like,
oh, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
nobody taught you. Nobody showed you. They just gave you a bunch of money, and now you don't even know what to do with it. And you don't know how to handle yourself. You're just out there. It's literally, I've seen some of her concerts. It's like a strip club.
it's becoming normalized.
It's like a strip club. Like, the bare minimum is covered. And why would she do that to herself? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it teaches other young girls in our community, like you've mentioned, to sell themselves cheap and to just feel like, you know, well, this is my greatest asset, so I'm gonna use it. But you're abusing it. And of course, that's not your greatest asset. You are so much more than your body. You are so much more than sex, right?
Or sex, what you can provide sexually. And I think another song I think of is Michael Jackson. He got it right when he was talking about, he said, they don't really care about us. And he said, if Martin Luther were living, he wouldn't let this be. We were talking the other day about Fred Hampton. Like if some of our leaders hadn't been there,
Malcolm X,
so fast.
If they had still, they wouldn't have allowed that. Like,
they wouldn't have allowed us to sell ourselves cheap like that.
But they took them out. They took out the Black fathers, the fathers in the Black community.
And I just think it's a part of a plan to keep us divided and
Right.
to keep us separated. And now like you got white people looking like, oh, look at those hoes, or some white people like, ooh, look at those hoes, you know?
Following after that, because that's what has tended to happen. Black people start things, are trendsetters.
It just continues to perpetuate the caste system because you need somebody on the bottom. And I think that's honestly just what it does.
Yeah. And so I pity those girls. Like, I don't feel like, well, they're not good. Obviously, they're infected by an evil spirit, but I'm not going to hate them for that. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like, oh,
everyone's victimized, right?
What are they doing? Somebody help them, you know? But we do strongly say they don't represent us. And what we're proud to say is we feel like we have met, we have come into contact with, and we are happily daughters in the faith of some real fathers in the Black community. And you should meet them. And that's all we're
I
going to say for
agree.
now, but you're going to
I
find out
hope
about 'em.
sometime that we get to do a longer podcast on this, because before this I was researching some stuff and there's so much history. Like if you look in the 1800s of black women being used as sex symbols, and even if you look in slavery,
It's old.
how white
It's
men
always
were
been done.
pursuing black women, and it's just honestly it's morphed. It's just
like refined
changed.
slavery.
It's just like
literally
refined slavery, and that's what we think it is.
So we don't hate the women that refer to themselves as hoes, but we hate what's been done to them. And we
I feel like we have to speak up about
feel
it.
like we have to lay judgment on what it is. And we're happy to say we found the answer. Hit us up if you want to know more. Well, we enjoyed our discussion here today. If you have any questions or comments, please post in the section below and we'll be happy to answer and engage with you. You know what time it is today. Peace, love, and hair grease.